Hey, and welcome to this video. We're going to title this No Interest. And the reason we're titling this No Interest as a separate video from the other videos is because our research has basically shown us that at the door, we did a little bit of research on the numbers. This is over 50% of the deals you're losing at the door. So I wanted to take the time to address this in its own video. Then I'm going to do another video titled Rapport at the Door. And with that, let me get moving here, okay? So no interest. You go to the door and you barely get your script out, or you barely get to introduce yourself and they say not interested, and they're real tight, and they're preventing you from kind of warming up. So to me, the greatest thing you can do here is to use the framework that I gave you before, the 3-step objection protection handling formula at the door, which is a little different than the close, but it's basically the same thing. So you've got one thing here is you agree and you acknowledge, okay? That always remains this way. And the better you get at this, this is the greatest thing you can do to drop people's guard. There is other things you can do as well, but this is one of them. And then you agree, then you handle the concern, and you do this with flip the pain. And then 3, you prompt an action. You have to know where you're headed. Are you trying to get in the door, or are you trying to get them out of the house to do a walk around? Now, here's one thing I know. The greater the resistance at the door, actually, they're defending themselves because they're actually very easy to sell. And I've watched this phenomenon for many, many years. So a couple of things I just want to point out here with this no interest at the door. Sales reps for years have thought I'm crazy because they'll come back and say, oh, they're not interested. And I'll tell them the reason they're not interested is because you're not interested. So if you want them to be interested, you need to get interested. So what does that mean? You need to build your belief system in the result that we produce, because it's going to come through you. It comes right through you, right through your physiology, through your smile, through your dynamics at the door, through your body language, your tone, and everything else. But just in terms of handling the protection, I'm not interested. We're not interested, right? Which is going to just be a go-to. They're going to try to shut you off. You got to try to sort of wedge your voice inside of that to just see if you can crack it open. And I'm telling you, if you get better at this one piece, we know we're losing 50% of the deals or more. Likely it's more than that right here with this one thing, one defense mechanism from a customer prospect. So again, agree, acknowledge, no issue. I acknowledge I wasn't invited here. I'm really even sorry to interrupt. Would it be okay to just ask you one question? So you got to go for that one. Would it be okay to just quick, right? You got to use your dynamics and your personality. I wish I could tell you, do it this way and this way only because this is what works. But I can promise you, if I interviewed 100 people door knocking, they're going to all do it differently. That's just the truth. So learn the framework and then get the words inside the frame. So first is the frame. Agree, no issue. I acknowledge that I came here and we didn't have an appointment. I acknowledge that. Would it be okay to just ask you one little itty bitty question, right? Like, I'm not begging, but I'm almost like going coy a little bit. That's the sort of the posturing. And some people say, you can never lose your sales status in this sort of thing. I don't agree with that. I don't fully agree with that. They don't even know you, okay? So when they don't even know you, they're trying to determine if you're safe. You hit their door, you caught them off guard. So to me, if I have to go a little coy, I'm not losing my sales status. I'm just like, would it be okay to just one little question, right? It's just, and I want you to do that in your own way, with your own tonality, not necessarily mine. Folks, I understand I just came to the door. I understand I wasn't invited. I understand we didn't have an appointment. That said, if we knew for certain that, God forbid, a bad guy, God forbid, a home invader, God forbid, an electrical fire, God forbid, the silent killer, carbon monoxide were to compromise your family, would it have been worth at least listening? And hear me out, and I'll be brief. A lot of times that'll turn them into a yes. Okay, I've turned tons of people like this, going to doors. And back in the day when we were doing this, not door knocking, appointments, they would have 24 to 48 hours to think about the appointment to what they're going to say at the door. So a lot of times we would get to the door, we thought about it, we're not interested. Boom, and they're slamming the door in your face. So our whole thing was to fight our way in the door. Then I moved to Florida and I started training and recruiting. Next thing you know, I got all these door knockers. I didn't even know what door knocking was. It wasn't something we did where I came from. And so when I started working with door knockers in 1998 and I started teaching them my techniques, it was actually an ADT rep who named my system. He's like, oh my God, that's so guard down. And that was in 2005. He's like, that's so guard down. And I was like, that's it. It's guard down selling. That's my style. That's why I call it guard down selling. So the guard down is all about diffusing. It's an energetic diffusion. And the less resistant you are as a person, the less resistant the people will be in front of you. I promise you this. Because people react to you based on who you're being energetically. So my process in guard down selling literally transforms you. There are reps who start with us who cannot even agree with people. They're not capable. It's like they have to disagree. They have to fight and they have to argue. I'm teaching you to be agreeable. It's like Steven Seagal. You're moving the energy. And I forget the style of karate that he teaches. It slips my mind at the moment, but you're rolling with the energy. You're not fighting against the energy. So, oh, we're not interested. Oh, no problem. I couldn't even expect you to be. I apologize. I came to the door unexpectedly, but I promise you I'm a good guy. See, I can agree with them 100 different ways, and it's all going to be based on your feeling at the door. So this part to me is more framework than script. That's just how I see it. More framework than script. Then you got to handle the concern and flip the pain. Because at the moment, they're viewing you as the pain. But they're not looking at the threat as the pain. So they're seeing you as the pain. You have to flip that. If you don't flip that, you're not going anywhere. So, oh, I understand, no issue, just one little question. Folks, listen, I recognize I came here unannounced. I recognize, and this is how we do it. The boss makes me do it this way. All that said, if me coming here helped better protect you, or if it stopped a bad guy in its tracks, or a robber or home invader, if a fire, an electrical fire, if the conversation helped you at some point in the future to better protect you and your family, would it have been worth the conversation? Yes. I'll be brief. I'll do this as fast as I can. And then boom, you just go into it. So the whole thing is to try to open them here by handling and flipping the pain and using value for life. Remember, in other videos, you're going to hear it. We did the research. We figured this out, that people are more likely to move away from pain than towards pleasure. Towards pleasure brings their guard up because they think you're trying to sell them something. Away from pain with a stranger actually works better. So when you're flipping the pain, would it at least have been worth a conversation? So the technique is, if you knew for sure